What if I told you the strongest comp in Wuthering Waves might soon have its strongest nuker and its best sub-DPS together? I know, blasphemy, right? But hear me out. Phrolova might not have that one-hit screen-shattering nuke, but what she does have is turn-by-turn mayhem that adds up to something absurd. Based on our most recent calculations and theory crafting, Phrolova can unload a jaw-dropping 588,000 damage in a single turn at full crit. And before you panic about crit stats, breathe. With her best in slot 44111 set and any 2-piece Havoc off-piece set, she reaches those numbers surprisingly easily thanks to her uniquely synergistic kit. But here's the kicker. Phrolova isn't just a hyper carry DPS. She's showing real promise as a devastating sub-DPS, and that's where things get spicy. Yo, welcome back to the channel. Kamusta po sa inyong lahat? Everyone expects Phrolova to work beautifully with Cantarella, and she does. Cantarella offers both resonant skill damage and havoc boost that Phrolova devours like an operatic diva on opening night. Shorekeeper? Sure, she's reliable, but she takes forever to ramp up. And if you've played Jinhsi, you know Shorekeeper's drag can be a pain when you're dying to get your Dragon Lady online. Now, here comes the wildcard move from one of our viewers. At Arondite318, what if we skip Shorekeeper and bring in Jinhsi? Yes, that Jinhsi. The literal backloaded queen of incandescence, the nuke machine, the woman who deals 500,000 damage while smirking. She already pairs perfectly with Cantarella, who fills her incandescence meter like it's second nature. But there's a catch. Without Shorekeeper, she loses 12% crit rate and 25% crit damage, which sounds brutal on paper. You'd think this would cripple her nuking potential. But here's the twist. What if we're no longer optimizing around her peak nuke? What if the meta is shifting and we're chasing total team output, not just a single highlight moment? That reframes the entire discussion. Suddenly, Jinhsi's minor sacrifices become acceptable trade-offs in a rotation that prioritizes collective burst. And this is exactly where Phrolova steps in to change everything. The game is finally shifting towards a more team-oriented damage model, where every unit contributes meaningfully to the total output. No longer is it just about showcasing a single character's damage ceiling. Take the all-fusion meta featuring Brant, Changli, and Lupa for example. This trio, each bringing their own buffs, debuffs, and multipliers, has been considered the gold standard for raw damage, collectively hitting around 900,000 per rotation. But what's fascinating is that a comp built with just Phrolova and Jinhsi, supported by Cantarella, can potentially exceed that mark with only 2 primary damage dealers. This isn't just impressive, it's paradigm shifting. It challenges how we define efficiency and impact in team comps, suggesting that with the right rotational strategy and support configuration, fewer units can deliver more concentrated and devastating results. Picture this rotation. Cantarella goes first, spends about 10 seconds buffing and charging. Then she hands the baton to Phrolova, who immediately ramps into Liberation. As her Liberation unfolds, you swap in Jinhsi, who's already itching to cook, and she fires off her 10-second combo, drops her Liberation Bomb for 400,000 plus, and gracefully steps off the stage. Phrolova resumes her area, finishing the Liberation and closing the act. Rinse and repeat. The result? Over 800,000 damage per rotation. And that's being conservative. Jinhsi already does 400,000 even without Shorekeeper. Phrolova does 500,000 with Cantarella buffs. Combined, they break the game. For reference, my Brant and Changli, one of the best established fusion pairings right now, are clocked in at around 740,000 against the top bosses in the Tower of Adversity per rotation. This Phrolova, Jinhsi, Cantarella trio is pushing way past that. And let's be real, Cantarella is the glue holding this madness together. She gives both Jinhsi and Phrolova the skill damage buffs they crave. But the dilemma is, only Phrolova benefits from the Havoc boost directly. So, the cleanest solution? Cantarella should always outro into Phrolova. During Frolova's liberation, do a quick swap to Jinhsi for her nukes, then wrap it all up with Frolova's final notes. It's not a flawless comp by any means. There's still a noticeable lack of direct buff synergy between Jinhsi and Phrolova. Jinhsi does have to make some sacrifices in terms of raw crit stats, giving up that 25% crit damage and 12% crit rate she'd usually get from Shorekeeper. But what she gains in return is something incredibly valuable: rotational efficiency. Jinhsi's eras of unity ensures she passively builds up her incandescence even while off-field. And with Phrolova actively dishing out damage, Jinhsi is free to slot in at the perfect moment to detonate her nuke without disrupting tempo. It's almost like Phrolova gives her breathing room, a tactical window to prep and strike without compromise. The result is a symphony of controlled chaos where each of them brings immense value and momentum to the field. This is the kind of synergy that breaks metas. The funny thing is, some players still use Jinhsi's burst damage as the gold standard when evaluating Phrolova's potential, as if every DPS must be judged by how big their single hit can get. Some are even planning to skip on Phrolova entirely because her damage comes in waves rather than a single dramatic spike. But this is a flawed comparison. Phrolova doesn't aim to replace Jinhsi, she complements her. So, instead of pitting them against each other like rival idols in a popularity contest, why not let them harmonize? Let Jinhsi detonate the stage and Phrolova carry the performance. Together, their synergy can reach damage heights that neither can achieve alone. This is why I genuinely believe we're witnessing the evolution of the sub-DPS role in Wuthering Waves. It's no longer about being a filler between your main DPS's big moments. It's about delivering meaningful, consistent damage that reshapes the rhythm of combat. And Phrolova exemplifies this shift with a kit that thrives on uptime, tempo, and sheer turn-based devastation. She's not just keeping the engine warm, she's flooring the gas while the rest of the team recharges. And that kind of role, that kind of pressure, is exactly what the modern sub-DPS needs to be. But what about you? Do you think a Jinhsi Phrolova Cantarella team can actually work? Does this signal a new meta or a hint of the power creep future of the game? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please support the channel by leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell for more amazing content. Thank you so much for watching. Maraming salamat po, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.